a sudden idle time left you walking back to Egypt. So, tonight, you can take what I said and apply it to your life, how it's supposed to be applied, or you can say that doesn't apply to me. You know what? I'm not going to be the judge on today, tonight, or any other night for that matter. God is. God knows who you are. God knows where you are. And you're not fooling him. Let me be the first to tell you, you are not fooling him. He knows how much you say you pray and how much you actually pray. He knows how much you say you read and how much you actually read. Just because God uses you don't mean that you're in him. He'll use a donkey if he had to. It's in the text. So don't for 1 second think that just because you're being used by God means that you're in the position that you should be in Christ. That's not what that means. It just means our God can do anything and he can use whoever he wants to. He can use Satan. And he does use Satan. He uses Satan to test us on certain things and allows us to pull ourselves closer to him. And he tests us on things that he's already placed in us. And when we pass that test, it moves us closer to him because we've been fed by him. So on tonight, I want to challenge you. If you know you're saved and you know that you're free. First of all, if you know you're not saved, that's the first call on tonight. You can go ahead and start making your way down here. If you're not saved and you're still stuck in Egypt, but you see that there's a promised land that God has in store for you, that's your call. You make your way down here and don't be ashamed. I like what Michael Rowan said. I'm not going to ask nobody to close their eyes and bow their heads while you walk down here. Michael Rowan said it like this. He said, if our God hung on the cross before men, was bleeding, was beaten, was stuck before all men to see, what in the world is holding you back from walking before 100 and something people in here and saying, God, I need you more in my life? That's the first call. Second call, if you're saved, but you found yourself just wandering in the wilderness with nothing to do, wondering what's next. Not understanding that God has more for you. Not understanding that he's expecting of you to do the same thing that he did for you. He's expecting for you to become an answer to somebody's prayer and not always asking for prayer. That's the call for you. If you're saved, but you know you're still wandering in the wilderness, wondering what's next in your saved life, make your way down. And the third call is for those of us who are saved, and we might not be at the promised land, but we're striving towards the promised land, and we're just saying, God, I want more. God, I'm learning to expect more from you. I'm learning to expect that you will transition me more into your likeness, and I will start doing the same things that your son Jesus Christ walked this earth and did. I'll start laying hands on the sick and they'll recover. I'll start fulfilling the Great Commission. I'll start doing those things that God called me to do. Tonight, guys, don't get caught up in the fact that you're not crying at this point. Get caught up in the fact that God is speaking to your heart and tugging on your heart right now. If you're wondering what the presence of God feels like, you know that nudging on your heart that you feel right now as I'm speaking to you? That's God's very presence nudging you and telling you to get your tail up here because he has something for you. I'm not saying that to be so radical. I'm saying it because it's time out for us being ineffective Christians, but moving into a place to where we're saying, God, not only am I saved, but I seek to save somebody else. I seek to expose somebody to what it was that you exposed me to. And the only way for me to get to that place is for me to walk to your promised land, to be going in the direction of you, to where what it is that I have in my life is overflowing. Overflowing. What God showed me a couple weeks ago was that many of us are left empty after we pour out into somebody else. And he showed me that that was so incorrect. That's so wrong. And he said, you know why it's wrong? You know why it's incorrect? Because whatever he pours out of you It's not necessarily that he's pouring it out of you. It's just the fact that he's filled you up with something else and your life has become overflowing onto somebody else. So if you're empty or half full on tonight, it's because you're not full. It's because you weren't filled to begin with. And what you were doing was pouring out the little that you had, as opposed to allowing God to just pour into you, and when you're filled, when you're full, allowing that fullness to just overflow into other people. And now it's not so much that you're pouring out into people's lives, it's that you're overflowing into other people's lives. You're spilling over. Your lifestyle is spilling over into the lives of other people. Your light is spilling over into the lives of other people who don't know Christ. What is in you has no other choice but to come out when you're full. Think about it, guys. If you had a glass of full water and I was pouring it right here, you tell me not to pour anything else into it. Why? Because it would overflow and it would spill. I feel the call for even some of us who have been operating in ministry, we're still left feeling empty. Guys, no matter where you are in your walk, this is where God wants us. He wants us in a humble state, always chasing after the more of Him. Always chasing after more of Him. You know, tonight, I'm going to ask the warriors that are right here, what I want y'all to do is, I want you guys to pray. But I want y'all to pray within yourselves and only pray for the people that God lays on your heart to pray for. It's kind of what we should be doing all the time. But pray for the people that God lays upon your heart to pray for. Everybody else, it's not about them laying their hands on you, but it's about you speaking to God and allowing God to understand where it is that you seek to be in Him. So what we're going to do tonight is, as we worship, God's going to heal us. As we worship right now, as we expose ourselves to God, as we come humbly and boldly before the throne of grace, God's going to do those things in our lives that we ask Him to do. But it's not going to be through the mouth of one of these prayer warriors. It's going to be coming out of your mouth. Out of your belly shall flow rivers of living water. Out of the abundance of your heart, man. So whatever you got to do, go ahead and get there. Whatever you have to do, get there. Get there and begin to speak to Him. Prayer warriors, y'all pray. We're going to just kind of chill here. If you need to leave, you can leave. Father, I just pray that your presence be in this place, that you would touch hearts where you need to touch them, that you would save the lost ones, that you would inspire those who are saved to move closer to you, and that you would allow your Spirit to be poured into the lives of everyone standing before here who say they need you more, God, who say, God, that they need you to come into their lives, God, and just wreck everything, God. Like you came into the temple, God. Flip over the tables, God, of the tax collectors, and flip over the tables of the things in our lives, God, that are so unpleasing to you, God. Move, remodel our lives, remodel our hearts, God. Renovate the areas of our temple, Lord, for you, Jesus, for you, God, for your glory, Lord. Allow us to move into the land that's flowing with more of your knowledge, more of your experience, God. That is what we desire, God. We've recognized, God, that we've been doing things, but we've been doing it off of our own abilities, off of our own talents, God, and not necessarily off of your Spirit, Lord. We need the more of you in our lives, God. Nothing else will do. Nothing else will do.